Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and this one is me playing with one of Natalie May Scrapbooking's brand new collage papers. This one is called Winter Girl. They're just such beautiful images, these new collage papers that Natalie's released. And she sent me some to have a play with. They're just so beautiful, and they lend themselves really well to extending them out into your journal page. And so that is what I'm going to do with this one. So I've cut off the excess around the edge, and then I am just going to stick the whole collage paper into my journal. So I'm working in a large Dylusions journal, and I've just popped some matte medium down on my page, and now I am just going to add the collage paper on. And then I'm just kind of like using a little bit of gel medium to brush it down to seal the image as well, because I'm going to be using acrylic paint over the top of it. And so I want it to be nice and flat. And I'd obviously faffed about too much because some of the matte medium had dried. Some days it gets really warm in my art room, and some days the opposite. It gets really, really chilly. This was obviously one of those warm days. So here I'm just making sure that the image is sealed and nice and flat to the page. So my plan here is to extend this image out onto the rest of my journal page, taking my inspiration from what is already there. And like I say, it's really easy to do. I used a mixture of Dina's paints and Tim Holtz distress paints for this, but you know, it's quite easy to kind of mix and match the paint colours that you've already got to be able to take inspiration from what is already on this page. So here I'm using mineral, and I'm pulling it down over that corner of the collage paper. Then that makes that cohesive, that bit. It sort of already, that image is starting to feel like it belongs on the page. I can still see the trees through it, so that's not a problem. And then I'm going to just get a bit of white on my blending sponge and just bring a bit of difference in the colour and the texture of what you can kind of see in that part of the page as well. Because the collage paper as it wasn't all grey, it was like a mixture of grey and white, probably more white than grey. But this just, you can see now, that's sort of bringing a little bit of more interest. Then you can't really see here, but I'm using this dotty stencil from Dina. Again, just going in with mineral and just adding a little bit of stenciling through onto the background. I didn't want it to be obvious, I just wanted it to add a little bit of pattern in the background. That was a Tim Holtz distress paint in pumice stone, and here I'm just adding a little bit of stenciling. Again, it's not particularly obvious, but I didn't really want it to be really obvious. So this is again one of Tim Holtz distress paints. I am pretty sure that it is. I'm looking now at my shelf. I'm thinking it might be tumbled glass, but it does look darker than that. I think it might be tumbled glass, or might even be salvaged patina. I'm not sure which one, but I kind of matched my colours to the colours that I felt worked with what was already on the collage paper. So here I'm just copying what Natalie May's already done, pulling those colours across and just layering up the difference in colours just to bring that depth. And I also add a little bit of the colour to the left-hand side as well, just so that it kind of adds that cohesiveness across the page. And then I'm going in with a slightly darker colour. So I'm pretty sure that was Night from Dina Wakley, and I'm just adding some sort of darker marks onto that area, which could be water, it could be like frosty, I don't know, could just be like frosty moorland or something. I'm not really sure. I don't know what it is. I don't care. I love it. And then I'm using my Stabilo oil pencil, and I am drawing in some trees. So what I'm going to do now is use the inspiration from those trees and pull some across the right hand side. So you can see how I'm extending my image across my page all the time, pulling it across, taking inspiration from what's already there and adding some more. And that collage paper is now starting to feel like it's a whole page rather than just a piece of collage stuck on to my journal. And that is something that I really do like to do. It's to kind of meld the collage papers into my page. So here I'm just going in with a water brush and activating the Stabilo all pencil lines that I've just drawn. Not only does it soften the lines, but also just brings a bit of difference in tone and definition as well, which is quite nice. And I love the kind of artsy look that the Stabilo all pencil brings to a journal page too. The harder you press, the darker it is, and then when you activate it, obviously it'll still be quite dark. But this is a great way to add those lines, but then soften them as well. And then I just pulled a line across that sort of horizon line there and smudged it with my finger just to soften. That's another way that you can soften those pencil marks too. So now to make the sort of starry night hair situation carry on into the top of my journal page. So I'm starting off with the lightest colour and I'm going to pull that all the way up. Over the join, and then bring in some other colours. Yeah, that is salvaged patina. Yeah, bringing in some other colours as well, just to kind of blend those together. And then that looks like marine from Dina Wakley. And I'm using my blending tool. I'm just kind of sort of using a dabbing motion just to pull that colour up the hair a little bit, taking inspiration from what's already there. And you can see that already starts to make that top part of the journal page feel like it belongs to the bottom part. I am just making this bit up as I go along, trying not to overdo it, but again just working on making it feel like it's part of what's there. Then that looks like peacock, and I'm just using that with the same blending tool. So it's just about using the different colours that you can see there, and usually if you kind of hold the paint bottle next to the image you can see whether the colour is nearly right, and then just add it on and see how it goes. The thing with acrylic paints is they're really easy to layer over each other, so even if you do something that you think isn't quite right, you can usually fix it by adding a different colour over the top. So then I'm just adding some more darkness to this bottom part, and I think that might be a touch of black. I'm probably still using the same blending sponge here, so it's black but it's got a touch of those other colours with it as well. If you weren't so confident with black, then I think you could work just as easily with night. That would bring some difference in tone as well. But I was starting to feel like it was kind of working, and it's so much fun just to see if you can pull an image out onto your journal page, taking inspiration from what's already there. So then I've just outlined the edge of the hair situation, which I'm calling it because I don't quite know what else to call it. I think it is hair, isn't it? But it's just meant to be like the night sky, which is very clever. Using my Stabilo all pencil, water activating it just to give some definition to that edge. And then I'm adding some white splatters because that is like a sort of starry sky. She's so beautiful. I love how this page is kind of coming together. And those splatters kind of do finish off that little area. Okay, so next I'm going in with a Posca pen and just adding some more highlights to that bottom part of the page, which I'm not sure if it's water or if it's like land that's frostbitten, I'm not sure. And then I am using some archival inks. So this is like a sort of peacock blue colour, and I'm using one of Natalie May's text stamps here. I'm just bringing a bit of text stamping into the hair. And then that's like a sort of more of a night type of blue, nice and dark, and again just adding some of that too. And finally, I am going in with my quote. It works perfectly in this calm space to the right hand side of the page, and I'm using quite a thick Posca pen for this. And then I just added a little bit more definition to one side of those letters, just making them a little bit bolder. And then I am going in using a Signo Uniball in white and just adding a bit of a drop shadow to one side of those letters. I wouldn't really say it pulls them out from the background. I think it just is just adding another element to your page. Particularly in this situation, I think it calms the writing down, it makes it sit a bit more easy on that background, which is, it's got a really sort of calm vibe to it. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get some of these collage papers eventually on my website, so keep a lookout for those. They are lovely to work with. They're a great starting point, a great inspiration for a journal page. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, watching how I use an image to create a whole journal page. There's obviously no white space in this at all, is there? But you know, it doesn't matter. So I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you again soon.